chapter 7.4, day 2, we're looking at adding or subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators. So as a review, we ended with this, with the last lesson, we were looking for lowest common multiple. So we'll review that a little bit in this, in the beginning part. So if we're trying to add these fractions, remember we need a common denominator before we can add that. So one way to do it is we can multiply by each other's denominator. So on the left side, we're going to multiply it by d over d, so we can get that common denominator. And then on the right, we'll do the same thing. We'll multiply that by c over c. And so what we end up with is a times d plus b over c all over the common denominator of d times c, or c times d. It's the same thing, right? C times d is the same thing as d times c, just because 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. Subtraction is the same, so we have a over c minus b over d. So let's multiply the right side by d over d, and this one by c over c, and we're still subtracting. And so we end up with a times d minus b times c all over the common denominator of c times d. So we have to remember that. That's where we're headed, adding or subtracting with unlike denominators. But before we get to that, let's review finding the LCM. So, because that's going to help us out with something like this. And then we're going to use both methods so you can see what the difference is. So let me go ahead and try number 12 here. So we're going to find 24x squared, the LCM for 24x squared, and 8x squared minus 16x. So first, let's factor each one. So 24x squared. So 24x squared, that is 8 times 3 times x squared. 8 I know is 2 cubed times 3 times x squared. So for this one here, 8x squared minus 16x, let's factor out an 8x from both first. So that becomes 8x times x minus 2. So then this factor, the 8, is also a 2 cubed times x, and then times an x minus 2. So now we're taking a look at these two. They're factored, and we want to take, again, the highest power of each factor that appears. So let's evaluate. We're going to take either the 2 cubed or 2 cubed, so they're the same. So in this case, as part of our LCM, we're going to take 1, 2 cubed. We don't take both, just take one. So I'm going to cross it out. We took care of it. Now we have a 3. There's only one 3, so we take the 3. Then we have x or x squared. So we take the highest power again, so we should take the x squared. Okay, and then we took 1, 2 cubed here. So we took the x squared, so not the x. And then we have no choice but to choose this x minus 2 times x minus 2. So this ends up being 2 cubed is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. X squared times x minus 2. And that is our LCM. Now let me help you out with number 14. So this one is a difference of 2 squares. And that one factors to 3x and 4 times 3x and 4. And then it's just opposite signs. Now this one, it's a is greater than 1, so let's do that one. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. That adds to 1. And so I see 3 and negative 4 already, right? And that makes 1. But I need it to be positive, so it's going to be 4 times negative 3. So just doing the reverse box just to factor this. So inside we write 3x squared minus 4. These are the factors that go inside, 4x and negative 3x. Then you factor the first box. So it multiplies to make 3x squared. That's 3x and x. So 3x, it needs to go on the left side because it's a factor of both of these. So let's write that. This is 3x times x. And then now we figure out the other factors here. So 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. X times 4 is 4x. And then we check the last box. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So this is a correct factoring. So yes, after all that, this is 3x plus 4 times x minus 1. So now our whole goal was to find the LCM, right? So this is a lot of practice. So we have a 3x minus 4. So we have to take that one. And then we have a 3x plus 4. There's 2 of them. So we just take one of them. It doesn't matter which. So I'm going to take that one. Then I have to take the x minus 1. So that is the LCM. So sometimes that's what's really hard about adding or subtracting with unlike denominators, is trying to find a common denominator. So finish up number 10 and 15 as practice. And then now what I'm going to do is adding with unlike denominators. So we're going to use method 1. Method 1, we're going to use this definition. We're going to multiply each by the other denominator. So that's one way to do this problem. And so let's do that in this example. So I'm just going to rewrite the problem here. So I'm going to multiply the right side by the 9x squared over 9x squared. Then I'm going to multiply the left side by this denominator, so 3x squared plus 3x. Okay, so we're trying to add these now. And so what we want to do, let's rewrite this. So this is going to be 7 times this 3x squared plus 3x plus x times the 9x squared. And now it's all over the common denominator, right? They're the same now. So all over 9x squared times 3x squared plus 3x. So now we have to distribute the top. This becomes 21x squared plus 21x. And then 9x squared times x, that's 9x cubed. All over 9x squared times 3x squared plus 3x. So let's rewrite this. Our 9x cubed should be first, so let's do that. This should be 9x cubed plus 21x squared plus 21x. Now we're going to have to start to factor this now, okay? So this is all grouped together. Let's look at the denominator. So here, what can we factor out? Well, we can divide out a 3x to kind of simplify this a little bit. So the 9x squared still stays, right? This still exists, so I wrote this in the front. We divided out a 3x because I know I'm going to have to simplify. And so what's left inside of here? So we're left with an x plus 1. Okay, so I simplified this here by dividing by 3x, and this is what we get. And then at the top, how can we simplify that one? Well, I hope that you can see that we can divide out a 3x, so GCF. We have to simplify if we can. And so we can factor out a 3x in the front, and we're left with 3x, oh, that should be a cubed, sorry, 3x squared plus 7x plus 7, all over 9x squared times 3x times x plus 1. Then what we hopefully you notice is there's a 3x and a 3x here, and those cancel. So the final answer is 3x squared plus 7x plus 7 all over 9x squared times x plus 1. So that is adding with unlike denominators, and that is method 1. In the next video, I'm going to go over how to do method 2, and then you'll get a couple of practice problems as well.